Hey, what's up? I'm back. Yeah, I really love this series, and I ain't gonna cap. I love it too. Yeah, I want it to continue, and I'm gonna enjoy doing this series. It's been pretty fun so far. Let's see how far we can go with this. So what? We in like what? Part four? I think so. Yeah, part four to what if Naruto was in high school DxD. All right, I'm gonna start it off. Lucifer, thank you again for letting me stay. Of course, you saved my sister. The underworld is already used to powerful beasts roaming around the land. A few more wouldn't hurt, although none of them are usually this powerful. Well, they were never supposed to be sealed inside me in the first place. They had enough of being trapped. That's true. We're tired of being sealed away. You decided to stay, Karama. Be quiet. Lucifer laughed. He had arranged for a nice apartment near the school. Excuse me. After bribing Naruto with a lifetime's worth of ramen, Naruto had agreed to enter as a second year transfer student, entering Rias and Akino's year. Naruto wasn't looking forward to it, but he was ready to go back to the human world. He was ecstatic to hear that there were humans in this dimension too. They lived on a planet called Earth, and they seemed technologically superior than the elemental nations, even though they were physically weaker. Lucifer had also planned a little surprise, along with Rias. He was sure that Naruto would appreciate it. Grafea had already stocked Naruto's closet with clothing. Naruto had refused not to have orange in most of them, but Naruto now has a respectable wardrobe. Instant ramen lined in the shelves, along with a kettle of boiling water. Now then, there were two bedrooms in the hall. Grafea put your stuff in the room to the right. Okay, Naruto said, walking towards the bedroom. It was simple enough, and compared to his old apartment, this one was much better. There was even a maid for the building, so Naruto wouldn't have to worry about cleaning up for himself. His bed was covered in orange sheets, and there was a nice view of a nearby park. A small desk and a lamp sat on the other corner. What's that? What's a glow up? It's much better than that pigsty you called a home. That was all I heard. It was important to me, Naruto told him. Or it was. Is there anything else I need to know? Well, I'm pretty sure that Lucifer has been working on some sort of prototype for a new arm. Also, here, he handed him a small card. This was a credit card. Use it for, money purposes. You can spend it as much as you want. Don't worry about it. Are you sure? Yeah, the Gremory family has more than enough money. Trust me. It's alright. Lucifer looked up at the clock on the wall. School will start on Monday, so don't be late. I have an appointment that I can't miss. I'll see you later. Lucifer disappeared via a magical circle. He seemed like he was in a hurry, Naruto thought, walking towards the kitchen. While he had been staying in the underworld, he had also been introduced to TV. Now, the only thing he ever seen was that one movie, but now humans used it as a constant form of entertainment. Naruto wondered if there was anything interesting. Lucifer had also given Naruto a phone, saying that this device could contact people from across the globe instantly. Naruto knew how to call people, but he could barely understand how it worked. But Lucifer said that he would also get someone to teach him. Just as Naruto was sitting down on the couch, he heard his doorbell ring. Naruto, he was confused. He wasn't expecting anybody to show up today. So he walked towards the door and opened it, and he sees Rias. "Hello, Naruto," Rias said as he opened the door. Stood just a few centimeters above him, noticing that she was overly bubbly. "Hey, Rias." Naruto eyed the several suitcases behind her. "What's with all that stuff?" "I'm moving in with you. Didn't my brother tell you?" Rias said, letting herself in. "Wait, what? Aren't there 2 bedrooms here?" "I'm taking the second one," she said innocently. Naruto thought she was anything but innocent right now. Nevertheless, he grabbed her other suitcases. He had a feeling that Lucifer's appointment was fake. "Why, thank you," Rias smiled, and Naruto had to fight down the blush that was appearing on his cheeks. Rias walked towards the bedrooms, opening the door onto the left. It looked similar to his room, but the sheets were a light pink instead of orange. He had been right. This had been prepared. "Alright. Well, welcome to my home," Naruto sighed, putting her suitcases down. "I'll let you unpack. I'll be in the living room." I'm gonna time skip a little later. When Rias exited her room, she spotted Naruto sitting on the couch, slurping on a cup of instant ramen. He had forgotten to use the chopsticks since he couldn't use them with his left hand. Naruto was watching some TV drama and not really paying attention to the show. Rias had the feeling that he was talking to Kurama. "Can I change the station?" she asked. "Yeah, this one's kind of boring anyway," Naruto said, looking up at her. "I have to say, I really like your hair. It looks really cool." "Thank you," Rias said. She could tell that Naruto was attracted to the hair, especially as his eyes followed the strands as they hung low to her curves. She sat down on his left, grabbing the remote from the table, flickering through a few channels. She stopped when she found what she was looking for. One of her favorite anime that had started a new season, and a new episode was airing tonight. Hold up. Alright, I'm back. Had to do something real quick. Anyway, Naruto actually seemed to perk up as the anime began. He leaned back onto the couch, putting the empty cup down. While the anime was a rom-com, it had a few action moments, which Naruto seemed to love. "Come on, kick his ass!" Naruto shouted, thoroughly invested by now. You have to," Rias would have laughed, but she was doing the same thing. "Okay, that was a good show," Naruto admitted when it finally ended. "It's one of my favorites," Rias said, flickering through the channels. They finally settled on a movie. It was about these, let's say, 7 students who kept finding themselves in strange supernatural situations while still trying to pass their classes. The sky outside darkened and soon the only light in the room was the television. At some point, you know what? I'm gonna sauce this up a little bit. At some point, Rias had gotten much closer, leaning to his arm. Not that Naruto really minded, but he wasn't really sure why she was so close now. Finally, the credits started, and Naruto realized how late it was, and it was super dark out. He had to use his Rinnegan to actually see anything. Rias, Rias, the movie's over. Naruto looked closer. Her eyes were closed, and her and she was breathing deeply. She had fallen asleep on his shoulder. Naruto laughed quietly, wrapping his arm around her. It was difficult, but using shadow clones, he was able to carry her into her room. He didn't know that her room was filled with strange figurines and books, but he assumed that it was a dimensional difference, and he placed her book, placed her in her bed, closing the door, deactivating his clones, opening his own door. He put, he pulled his t-shirt and shorts off, climbing to the underneath the covers. Naruto went to sleep soon after. Time skip to the next day. Naruto woke up to a strange warmth. He actually felt really warm. It was strange since it was pretty cold, and let's say it's March. Yeah. Ugh. He felt something shift. He definitely noticed a strange weight laying on his right side. Actually, the end of what was of his left arm. He was pretty sure that he felt a heartbeat. What? What? Naruto opened his eyes, squinting them as his eyes got used to the light. Kid, this is a new one. Kurama sounded confused. I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be normal, even in a new dimension. Naruto turned his head, trying to make sense of the red blob he saw. Finally, his eyes adjusted and Naruto's jaw dropped. Rias was sleeping, just inches away from his face. From this close, she looked even more sensational than before, especially in the way of the light shining through the mirror. The window. And Naruto was thinking about some stuff. And Kurama says, and they say, and you say you aren't a pervert. I'm denying it, Naruto said, inching backwards, sliding towards the wall. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which part of Naruto's body you're asked, this dragged the blanket with him, and it slipped off of Rias, revealing her completely nude. Naruto immediately averted his eyes, having taken many anti-pervert lessons from Tsunade and Sakura, so much so that he could no longer control his reactions anymore. Why? I don't know. This never happened before, Kurama yelled. I think I know what to do. Give the covers back. It's cold, Rias murmured, shifting. Naruto had to physically fight his eyes back. Oh, good morning, Naruto. Rias opened her eyes. Good morning, Rias. Naruto refused to look at her. What are you doing in my bed? Well, it's a strange new house, and I woke up in the middle of the night. And you just look so inviting, Rias said seductively. Was that a problem? No, yes, Naruto shook his head. Not really, but why are you naked? I found that I can't sleep comfortably with my clothes on. They're too scratchy. And Rias, she moved closer to Naruto. Why? I'm just not used to waking up to girls in my bed, Naruto asked. Said, closing his eyes. He knew that she was doing this on purpose. He wasn't that dense. Yeah, but she had to go this far. So you're unexperienced? Rias whispered into his ear. He wasn't sure when, but she'd gotten much more closer. So close that he can feel her lips tickle his earlobe, which sent shivers up and down Naruto's body. He was feeling really uncomfortable now. Yeah, he may have had Jiraiya as a teacher, but even Jiraiya knew that he couldn't let a kid into this type of situation. Kurama, take over, please. Fine. Ria shifted backwards when she felt Naruto's energy or saw Naruto's aura change. She met a red-slitted eye that suddenly felt much smaller than before. What are you doing? Kurama asked, staring directly at her. Naruto had retreated into his mindscape. Don't think your seduction will work on me. Yes, Kurama. Rias looked down. Kurama nodded, climbing back into the bed. Rias looked towards his crotch. Nothing. Humans continue to vex me. Do tail beasts not feel aroused? She asked, grabbing her school uniform from the ground. Don't you reproduce? No. We're beings of pure chakra. We are immortal. Even if I die, I would be recreated within a few years. Kurama grabbed a pair of black sweatpants from the closet. We do not have the organs necessary for the reproduction. Your dimension sure is weird, Rias murmured, clipping her bra. Your dimension is the strange one. All of these different species. Ours was simple. Kurama pulled a dark orange t-shirt over his head. Alright, Naruto, she's dressed, Kurama said, glancing over at Rias. Wait, hold up. Alright, I'm back. Here to do some real quick. Kurama said, glancing over at Rias, who was finishing up. She watched as Naruto's eyes returned to blue. I've never... I swear you almost gave me a heart attack, he said, looking over at her. Why is that? Rias asked, walking towards him. And, she said, was it too much stimulation? Naruto fought the blush down, refusing to let her get too far. No, I just don't wake up with people at my side. Usually they were an enemy, trying to slit my throat in my sleep. Naruto opened the door. But I guess if my apartment is strange, it's fine. Just please wear something next time. Alright, Naruto, Ria smiled. While Kurama may not have felt anything, Naruto was a teenager with a libido. She would find a way to break through his defense. I'm pretty sure this was the first time they were completely naked. Don't put the image in my head, Naruto shouted, looking into the refrigerator. I can say that your mornings were more than interesting from now on. Yeah, Naruto would never admit that he allowed her to continue to sleep with him because he wanted to see her like that again. Never. Okay, time skip later. This is really good, Naruto said, trying to use his chopsticks left-handed. Rias had made ramen, which he was not expecting. You really would be a good wife one day. For some reason, Naruto was feeling a little nostalgic. He knew that the two tails was right, but he missed him. He missed him so much, he remembered when he was able to sit down at Ichiraku's and order as much ramen as he wanted. His friends or sensei would show up sometimes, just sitting down talking to him. Ichiraku meant a lot to him, not just as a ramen stand, but as a place where Naruto didn't feel so alone. Ichiraku had taken him there. He spent time with Team 7 there. It was special. And eating ramen that tasted so similar to Ichiraku was bringing back some of those memories. And the fact that Naruto knew that he would not be able to sit there again made him see those flashes of his past all the more painful. Rias perked up when Naruto said something about being a good wife. She had been prepared to tease him, the words being on the tip of her tongue. However, she heard the hesitation in his voice, how he wobbled slightly near the end of his sentence. Naruto was staring down at his ramen, eyes starting to shine slightly. His hand was shaking, and Naruto looked to be in physical pain. He didn't make a sound though, nothing. I'm sorry. It wasn't your fault, Kurama. Naruto breathed in sharply, trying to hold back the tears from falling. It was Kaguya. Black Zetsu and Kaguya. Rias listened to Naruto's talk. She couldn't claim to know what was going on. The morning had been so lighthearted, but now the atmosphere had dampened. She knew that Naruto liked to act all happy and loud, but he had said that his dimension had been destroyed, and it would have been impossible for Naruto to move on so quickly. Anyone who said otherwise didn't understand what it meant to lose someone. I, you said that I had a chance to see them again. Is that true? It is possible, but I don't know, Naruto. I really don't know. That's alright, Kurama. Tears were freely flowing from his eyes, falling into his bowl. If it's possible, I know that I'll find a way. Naruto, could you tell me about your world? I want to know. I want to know what it meant to you, Rias asked softly, putting her hand on Naruto's. He met her eyes, and all she saw was deep and utter pain. Naruto drew in a shaky breath. If Rias wanted to know, it would be cruel to deny her of that information. Well, not really, but... Well, I was born on the day my parents died, and they were killed by Kurama. Naruto chuckled was filled with water. Don't blame him, though. He wasn't in control. In my world, there were very special eyes that could control tail beasts. It is the Sharingan. Naruto's eyes swirled. Obito Uchiha used his Sharingan to force Kurama to attack. After unsealing her from my mother, or unsealing him from my mother, the elemental nations were afraid of the tail beasts, and they sealed them inside of an Jinchuriki. They took the freedom of the Biju along with the Jinchuriki, who ended up as a weapon for villagers to use during war. My father was the village leader at the time, the Hokage, and he sacrificed his life to stop Obito and seal Kurama inside of me. My mom used her last breath to protect me. They died for me. Okay, Ryusei whispered. You grew up in an orphanage? Only until I was 4. The village hated Kurama for what he did. He was powerful, and when he rampaged, he killed a lot of people. And when they found out that I was the Jinchuriki, they hated me too. I didn't know why I was a Jinchuriki until I was 12, so I didn't understand why. I got kicked out of the orphanage, and I was on the streets for a while. Oh, at least for a week or two. I only survived because of the third Hokage stepped back into the office after my father died. He gave me an apartment and enough money to live on my own. He was like my grandfather. That's why when they treat a kid like that, People do stupid things when they hate. They couldn't see past the demon. I remember running from them on my birthday. They got drunk during the Kyubi festival, and sometimes they got a little violent. I learned to live on the streets. I learned how to run, how to steal, and I was lucky that Gigi was so nice. He tried to make life as easy as possible for me. Anyone who attacked me was never seen again. So most people just ignored me. Naruto looked back down at his ramen. There was this ramen stand in the middle of the village near my apartment. It was called Ichiraku. A few days after I left the orphanage, I remember being attracted to the smell. So I ran away when the owner spotted me. But I went back the next day and he made a bowl of ramen for me. And those were my only friends for a while. And Ria, she felt bad. She couldn't explain it, but something about Naruto's story made her feel like her problem meant nothing. It wasn't fair. He had been treated so poorly, and yet he still smiled, soldiering on with determination. So as I grew up, I realized how much the people of Konoha respected Gigi. They looked up to him for guidance, and he was so good at his job too. I decided that I wanted to be Hokage. I wanted to be acknowledged by the people. I wanted to be noticed. The Hokage was the leader of the village, so I thought if I became strong, the people would stop ignoring me. I acted out, pulling pranks, doing anything to get the people to say something. I didn't care if they hated me. I just wanted to be noticed. I entered the Ninja Academy when I turned 6. It turned out that the hatred for me was deep, cause they kept trying to hold me back, trying to stop me from getting stronger. Didn't your grandfather do something? He tried, but he was so busy. Tension between the villages were rising, and the civilians were getting restless. I didn't want to force more work onto him. I wanted to do it myself, so I preserved. I trained by myself, trying to do anything I could think of. There was this kid in my class though. He was super popular, and he was also a prodigy. He could do whatever he wanted with minor work. His name was Sasuke Uchiha. Uchiha? Like the Obito who controlled it, Kurama? Yes, the Uchiha clan lived in our village, but Obito had left the village a while ago. Nobody knew that he was still alive. The Uchiha clan felt like they deserved to lead the village, and so they planned a coup d'etat. However, Sasuke's older brother, Itachi Uchiha, killed every single Uchiha member, everyone except Sasuke. He left the village and became as hated as I was. He did it to protect Konoha. Naruto smiled. He told Sasuke that he wanted to do it so that Sasuke would hate him. He told Sasuke that the only reason why he didn't kill him because he wanted him to get stronger. And he told Sasuke that Sasuke was the only person who could have killed him. So what happened to Sasuke? He became an avenger. He was so obsessed with getting revenge that he didn't think about anything else. He sat at the top of his class, and yet he didn't even care. He just wanted to get stronger. Meanwhile, I had to teach myself how to read and write, so I ended up being the dead last. I thought Sasuke was arrogant, but I liked him. We were the same. How so? The village became so obsessed with Sasuke. He was the last Uchiha. He was elevated so high that he didn't feel like he was still a part of the village anymore. He was isolated, just like how I was. We both knew it. We catch each other staring. I was at the village village's bottom, and he was the champion. But we both were all alone. We just wanted to be loved, to come home and have someone waiting for you. I almost failed the final shinobi test. You only got 3 chances. After that, you were kicked out. But in my final year, I got this really cool teacher. His name was Iruka. He didn't hate me as much like the other teachers I had. He treated me like everybody else. And because I was never been taught, I didn't have the chakra control to make a clone for my final year. He told me that I had failed. I felt betrayed. I thought that he was different, but during that moment, I didn't see I didn't see that he was trying to protect me. So I stole the forbidden scroll from Gigi. I was tricked by my other teacher. He convinced me that if I could steal it and give it to him, I would graduate. And a clone suddenly appeared next to Naruto walking towards the hallway. Rias let it go, still thinking about what Naruto had said. Iruka caught me, and I showed him what I learned. I showed him that I could do the cage bungee technique. Mizuki showed up and attacked us. He was the only one who told me that why the village hated me. He told me that I was the nine-tailed fox, that I was a demon. I froze up, and he threw his shuriken at me, and I was prepared to die. But Iruka protected me. He told me that it wasn't true. He told me that I was Naruto Uzumaki and that just because Kurama was still inside me, it didn't change who I was. So after I beat Mizuki, he gave me his headband. He took me to Ichiraku. I was proud. The clone returned, holding a forehead protector in his hands. Naruto took it, running his fingers through the hidden leaf symbol on the metal plate. The clone disappeared. This meant everything to me. It was a symbol of my progress and my new friend. Iruka treated me like a little brother, even though Kurama was the reason why his family was killed. He was my sensei. Naruto's eyes began to leak with renewed vulgar. Whenever I needed him, he was prepared to help me. Risa's eyes started to water too. Iruka meant so much to Naruto. It seemed like that man was a man who only appeared once in a millennium. So after that, we were sorted into teams. Konoha had a system: three gaining students and one jonin sensei. They would have they would have been your sensei only until you became a jonin yourself. It was like a mini family. At least that's what it meant to me. The first and second Hokage were Gigi senseis. He was sensei to one of my senseis, who became my father's sensei. My father trained a team that had my Johnny sensei on it, along with Obito. Rias' eyes widened. Yes, that Obito who used to be on a team with my father and my sensei, they thought he was dead, but really he was taken by Madara Uchiha. Madara convinced him that he needed to take the Nine Tails in the name of peace. I'll explain later. What happened to your team? Well, I was put on the team with Sasuke, along with one of his fangirls, Sakura. I used to have a crush on her, I think. I'm not really sure if it was a crush or I just wanted her attention. I didn't know what love was at the time. Kakashi Sensei was our teacher. Naruto looked towards the window. We didn't get along. We had no synchrony. Sakura only listened to Sasuke, and Sasuke and I had a strong rivalry that we refused to work together, and we failed Kakashi Sensei's bell test. I thought that my shinobi career was already over, but Kakashi gave us one last chance. He tied me to a log and told the two to feed me. That's it. We hadn't eaten breakfast and we had just fought with a Jonin, so we were all starving. But Sasuke fed me anyway. He said that we couldn't have a teammate who went without food. And after that, Kakashi passed us, and we became Team 7. I always remember what he told us. Those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their comrades are even worse than scum. We had to work together, or we'll never survive in the shinobi world. Did it work? For a while, it was fine. I remember going on our first mission. Sasuke jumped right into the fight, while I froze up. I felt so weak at the moment that I was determined to beat Sasuke the next time we fought. Kakashi tried to teach us how to walk up trees, and Sasuke and I made it a competition. We couldn't let the other one get better. We were up all night, Naruto laughed, his eyes dry from tears now. We were so stupid, we didn't understand the reality of the shinobi world. During our fight with Zabuza, we realized that what the shinobi world were really supposed to be. Shinobis were tools, weapons, to be used in war. It didn't feel right to me. Even Kakashi Sensei said the shinobi system was wrong. It only filled people with hatred for each other. It fueled war. Naruto clenched his fist. During that war, Sasuke sacrificed himself for me. He finally awakened his Sharingan, and the first thing he did was save me. And when I thought he was dead, I didn't know what to do. I snapped. He was my first friend. Even though we never interacted before, we understood each other on a level deeper than anyone else. So I unleashed Kurama's chakra back then. Me and Kurama didn't really get along. I blamed him for how the village hated me, and he hated me for keeping him sealed in a cage, using his chakra hurt me. I was bloodlusted. I wasn't myself anymore. What happened after that? Team 7 kept getting closer. We began to train for the Chunin exams, and I was so proud of myself when Sasuke finally admitted that he wanted to fight me before the exams. I felt like I was finally reaching him. There was this kid though. His name was Gaara. He was a Jinchuriki like me, but he ended up going insane. It was a combination of a poor seal and repeated assassination attempts by his own father. So he released Shukaku, one of the tails, during the invasion. I used a summoning to defeat him. I told him that I knew how he felt being alone, and that I knew that it hurt, but it was okay because I had friends. I had Gigi and Naruto. I had Sasuke and Sakura and Kakashi. I was okay because of them, but Naruto's eyes darkened. On the day of the finals, one of Gigi's students led the invasion against Konoha, Orochimaru, and he killed Gigi. I hated him for that. I wanted to see him dead. He took my grandfather from me. Did you get him? Naruto sighed. Me and another one of Gigi's students went to find the last one, Tsunade. I traveled with Jiraiya. He was just as perverted as Issei, so I called him Pervy Sage. He was my godfather, but he couldn't associate with me because when other villages would have started attacking me. He had a massive spy network. He protected me from other villages, so I lived safe within the village. Safe? You were chased on your birthday, Rhea shouted. He didn't do a good job of it. He was your godfather. I know. I said the same thing when I found out. But he didn't know about what happened to the village. My father's death hit him hard too. He had a hard time staying in the village. Riz was about to open her mouth again. I know it's not an excuse, but can you leave it alone? I already forgave him. It's not worth it. Riz closed her mouth. She felt like Jiraiya should have done more, but it was Naruto's life, not hers. On the way to Tsunade, Jiraiya taught me my dad's jutsu, one he created on his own, the Rasengan. Naruto held his hand open, and a ball of chakra appeared. It was hard. I didn't have the chakra control to control it, and it usually ended up exploding on me. But he gave me tips as we went along. It was the first time I felt like I had someone. He may have been a massive pervert who spent most of his time as possible with women, but he cared about me. Naruto's Rasengan disappeared. It turns out that Obito had an organization called the Akatsuki. They wanted to gather all the tail beasts so that their leader could become a god. Hold up real quick. Alright, I'm back. I had to do something real quick. So they gather all so that they can gather all the tail beasts so that their leader could become a god and rule over the world so that there will never be war again. That's a dictatorship. I know. I was confronted by Itachi and Kisame. They came to take Kurama. I thought Itachi was a good guy. He was. He was pretending to work for the Akatsuki so that he could send information to Konoha. And we had all had no idea until after he died. Me or Sasuke. Sasuke showed up probably because he heard it or something. And I could see the rage in his eyes when he saw Itachi. He learned this technique from Kakashi Sensei. It was called the Chidori. He used it when he spotted Itachi. Itachi used his Sharingan to lock Sasuke into an illusion and tortured him. His own brother? He had to make sure that Sasuke wanted to get stronger. He needed Sasuke strong enough to defeat the Akatsuki. Naruto looked back down at his headband. It was the beginning of the end for Team 7. What happened? So we found Tsunade in a small village on the outskirts of the country. She was running away from people she lost money to. I thought she was weird, especially since she used a jutsu to make herself look young. She was 50 and I thought she was dumb trying to look 20. And when she insulted Gigi's memory, I got mad. I yelled at her and challenged her for a challenge to fight. A stupid decision on my part. She was stupid powerful. She could break a rock with just a finger. Wow. I lost. But I said that I wanted to be Hokage one day, and it reminded her of her dead brother, so she gave me a chance. She said that if I could master the Rasengan within a week, she'll come back to Konoha. I was so determined, I spent every single day on the field practicing. I destroyed so many trees. Now I can destroy planets. I've come really far, haven't I? He chuckled softly. Life was just so simple back then. You come very far. Anyway, I did it. But Orochimaru showed up too. Wait, hold up. Alright, I'm back. Had to get my food. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, I did it. But Orochimaru showed up too. It turns out, before Gigi died, he managed to seal Orochimaru's arms away. Without those, he couldn't do any jutsus. He had an assistant though. Kabuto. Naruto spat. I thought He was the I thought he was a loyal ninja of Konoha, but it turns out to be a lie. Deception was another part of the shinobi world. Naruto shook his head. Orochimaru thought that Tsunade could heal his arms. When she was a ninja, she was the greatest healer in all of the elemental nations. So, I guess I am now. Huh? My six-path powers allow me to heal most injuries like it's nothing, but I can't regrow my arm back. I can heal other people, but not myself. That's a strange power. It reminds me of Azia's Twilight healing. She could heal anybody, but Rias had never seen her use it on herself, even though she was easily injured. She fought with Orochimaru along with Jiraiya. I fought Kabuto and I finished it with the Rasengan. I used a clone to stabilize the attack, and when she acknowledged me, I felt accomplished. I had brought a new Hokage to Konoha. I used to call her Grandma to make fun of how old she was, but she was a grandma to me. What then? Ria said. Based on Naruto's expression, she felt like the story was about to take a dark turn. Sasuke's Avenger heart had been awakened. Orochimaru had placed a seal on Sasuke, and it began to corrupt him. He was so obsessed with the power it gave him that all he could think about was getting more. He wanted to go to Orochimaru. Naruto grit his teeth. He challenged me to a fight, and it got so bad. We used our strongest moves against one another. It could have killed each other. We could have killed each other. He had the Chidori, and I had the Rasengan. Kakashi had to stop us, but it was too late for Sasuke. He decided to leave the village. No. Yeah. Tsunade made up a team of my old classmates, at least. One of those weren't in the hospital. They told me to chase after Sasuke. Sakura cried. She begged me to bring Sasuke back, and I promised her I would do it, and I knew that she'll love me. But it wasn't just for her. It was for me too. My closest friend, my rival, my brother, was leaving me. Go on. I couldn't stop him. I even tapped into Kurama's chakra, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't make myself hurt him. Meanwhile, he had no problems trying to kill me. He drilled the Chidori into my chest. That was probably the worst scar I got. My brother tried to kill me. Riz didn't know what to say. He said that his friend had given him the eye, but from the way he acted, Sasuke sounded like he was insane. Why did he ever agree to do something for Naruto? She wasn't sure. She knew that this was back when Naruto was young, but still, someone who was willing to kill their best friend wouldn't just change like that. Can I finish the story later? Naruto asked, meeting Riza's gaze. It's a little hard to relieve it right now. I'm sorry that I asked. No, that's not what I meant. I promise to tell you the rest later, but I feel like I've been talking for hours. My ramen's cold now. I can make some more. That'll be great, Naruto smiled. And this one will finally reach his eyes. Thank you, Rias. Rias took the bowl, blushing at the horrific. She felt like she understood Naruto much better than before. He was selfless because he knew what it felt like to be pushed down. He was determined because he had to work so hard for certain things. Now that she understood why Naruto is the way he is, she also felt more attracted to him. Anyone who could endure what he had endured was a strong person. You know, talking about it is actually starting to make me feel a little better. I glossed over some things, along with some of other people I knew. I'll tell you about them later too, okay? Naruto gave her a thumbs up. I promise. I would like that, Ria said, turning on the stove. I want to help you, Naruto, in any way I can. Thanks. Naruto looked back down at his headband. It means a lot to me. For some reason, he found it easy to talk to Rias about it. He wasn't really sure why, but she seemed trustworthy. He felt like she wouldn't judge him. He felt like he liked that about her. Riz was a nice person. Kurama watched from inside the seal. He hadn't really been expecting Naruto to speak so easily. Something about that Riz girl was good for Naruto. Her strange attempts of seduction aside, she would be an important person to Naruto. Naruto may not have been able to tell for himself, but Kurama had felt these emotions from Kushina when she interacted with Minato. And he knew that Naruto was beginning to develop a crush. Now that I don't hate Naruto anymore, the story is much more moving. He truly felt proud to have gotten Sasuke's acknowledgement, Kurama thought. Even I wanted to hear more of this tale. Hello? Someone shouted on the other side of the door. Anyone there? Naruto felt like he recognized that voice. He walked towards the door. We're here. Chill out, I can hear you, Naruto said, opening the door. There's no need to scream so loud. What are you doing here? Issei asked. Naruto glanced up. The entire entourage was behind him. This is my new apartment. But isn't this Risa's home? Kiba asked. She told us that she moved here. I moved in with Naruto. He needed someone to guide him through life in our dimension, Ria said, approaching the door. Naruto stepped aside, allowing them to enter the room. What? Issei yelled, pointing at Naruto. Ria's moved in with you? She lives with you? Yeah, I was just as surprised. Riser brought me here. And then he left, and Ria showed up at the door. It doesn't really matter. I have an extra room, Naruto explained calmly. Ah, Naruto, Rias. Already so familiar, Akino whispered, leaning close to Naruto. Naruto stood back, moving away from Akino. For some reason, her teasing didn't affect him like Rias did. It was the red hair. It's the red hair, isn't it? I hate that I have the same fetishes as my dad. It's better than bondage. What? Now, I won't claim that I was watching, but I'm pretty sure that your mother was into bondage. I mean, she used chakra chains. She chained me to a floating ball, and she did have a sadistic streak. And Minato seemed a little, masochistic, I should say. No way! I refuse to believe that. Naruto's sudden outburst drew everybody's attention. Nuh-uh. I'm just saying. Don't put those kinds of images in my head. That's disgusting. Naruto gripped his head, trying to dispel the images his imagination created. He already had a hard time with Rias. He didn't need to be thinking about how he had to be conceived. Naruto, are you okay? Ozzy asked. Yeah, Karama was... Alright, I'm back. Had to get some real quick. Naruto, he refused to elaborate. It's nothing important, actually. Why are you guys here? Well, we normally meet up at the clubhouse, but spring cleaning is happening. So I asked him to come here for a meeting. Tomorrow we'll be going to Issei's house. Hey, what? No one told me. Issei panicked. Why are you so nervous? Naruto asked, smirking. Need to hide your porn? I don't care about that. I just didn't know. Issei shouted shamelessly. Why do you know about his porn mags? Akino asked. You claimed that you're not a pervert before. I grew up in an apartment in the middle of red light district. I knew about a lot of things that no 8-year-old should ever learn. Naruto shrugged. I'm sorry, Kiba winced. It's fine. It actually allowed me to develop my own patent anti-pervert technique. Behold, the sexy jutsu. Naruto held up his hand as he was replaced by a massive cloud of smoke. As the smoke dissipated, everyone's jaws dropped. As the sexiest girl they ever seen before appeared before them. It didn't help that she was completely naked and with a few winds of smoke protecting her modesty. Her curves gave her a perfect hourglass figure, and her pose accented the... Hold up. Alright, I'm back. My sister had to give me some. Her curves gave her a perfect hourglass figure, and her pose ascended the size of her thighs. She blew Issei a kiss, giggling as he blew backwards by his own nosebleed. Issei collided into the wall behind him, grabbing his head in pain. Naruto turned back, laughing at the scene he created. Issei, however, would never forget that beautiful sight he just seen. I'm surprised a pervert like you didn't pass out, Naruto said. That jutsu was strong enough to knock out Gigi. The others didn't know about Gigi, but Ria split her. Naruto had held the third Hokage in such regard, and he fallen for this? What's wrong with him? And because I found something even better than that, Issei shouted. I obtained... Fuck, that just ruined my whole flow. Anyway, I obtained the most famous book of perversion. Behold, Issei pulled a small book from his back pocket. His fellow Pirates stared unamused at Issei. Naruto, however, knew that he'd seen that book before. He spent two and a half years around it, after all. Is that Itchy Paradise? Naruto asked. Issei looked at Naruto, still holding the book high in the air. How did you get a hold of that? Ha, I knew it. You're a pervert. No one else would know about this masterpiece. It's the only copy in the world, and I spent my life savings on attaining it, Issei said, his voice filled with pride. Pervert. Konako spat, I should say. Spending your life savings on porn? Kiba muttered. Issei. Akino looked at the book. May I borrow it for a while? No! Issei clenched the book to his chest. This is my treasure. Naruto? Rias asked. Naruto looked over at her. How do you know about that book? You just got into this dimension. I told you, he has to be a pervert. There's no way else, Issei shouted. I'm not a pervert, okay? Naruto shouted, pointing towards the book. That book is the first book of the Itchy series, the author Jiraiya the Toad Sage. His alias is the Mega Pervert. I know that because he is my godfather. What? Issei shouted. The first? There are more? Yeah, there are around 4 books in a series. Do you have the others? Issei yelled, blowing Naruto's eardrums out. Be quiet, man. Ugh. I wonder how it got here. I'm pretty sure that no one other than me can open a portal between dimensions. It's obvious the power of the pervert to another, Issei shouted. Jiraiya was a master among perverts. The mention of his name is enough to bring tears to any pervert's eyes. Every pervert on the planet knows his name. Hello. Hold up. Alright, I'm back. My sister had to show me something. His perversion sent his work of beauty through dimensions. It ended up in my hands. He is truly a higher being. Issei held the book high, and the book began to shine in a strange light. And you're saying that he was really your godfather? Yeah, he was. I remember when I first met him. I caught him peeping on the girl's bathhouse. Oh, please, tell me, do you have any other books? Issei tucked Ichi Paradise into his pocket. I have more to read. I see. I think I saw them when I went to get my headband. Naruto walked backwards towards the bedrooms. Rias' Pirates followed behind, not really sure what to do. They entered into Naruto's room, noticed a large amount of orange, but Naruto was standing over a scroll that lay beneath the mountain of stuff. Let me see. I know I kept at least one of them. Tactics, I think, Naruto muttered, digging further and further into the pile. Why do you keep it? Rias asked. When he died, I wanted to keep something to remember him by. Turns out his only contribution to the world was his Ichi series. It was a gift. Be quiet, Issei, Riz commanded. Here, Naruto said, holding 5 books in his hand. Ichi Paradise, Violence, Innocence, and Tactics. All of his stories, along with his first one. What's with that one? It wasn't actually a porno, it was a novel. It was called The Tale of the Other Gutsy Shinobi. It didn't sell that well, but it was my favorite book. I was actually named after the main character. I don't care about that. Just give me the itchy. Issei yelled. Hey, don't ignore this book. It might not be porn, but it's just as important as the rest, if not more. It teaches life lessons. Life isn't all about fulfilling your desires. There is contribution that you have to make. You have to improve society. Seems like that Issei has a lot to learn, Akino said sadly. I just had to zap his perversion out of him. Akino blushed, and Naruto realized why he felt weird around her. You're a sadist. You like violence. You read them? Rias asked. Pervy Sage made me his unofficial editor. I read every single book. Naruto trailed off. It doesn't matter. Just take the books. Thank you. Issei clutched his new books like they were his lifeline. Naruto knew that Issei was a good kid, but this amount of perversion seemed unnatural. If only Jiraiya could see him now. He would laugh about how Naruto was destined to become a pervert. It was only natural if he was always surrounded by perverts. But at least Tsunade and Sakura aren't here. Wait, that means no one can beat the pervert out of me anymore. Don't even think about it. And I'm gonna stop it right there. It's been an hour. That's pretty good so far. And let me know how you like it. And comment down below. Leave a like. Tell me which part you like the most. And until next time, I'm out.